like my dad later an Adventist. My mother finally did too. But you know, Dad led me to Christ. I worked in his machine shop. And on the way in that machine shop, while we were driving to work, Dad would share Jesus with me and share the wonderful truths of the Adventist message. I miss my dad a great deal. You know, if you've lost a father and mother, you know what it means. You know, every place I was preaching in the world, I could be in Copenhagen, Stockholm, I could be in Munich, any place I was in the world, I'd call my dad on my cell phone. I always had in my pocket an international cell phone. I'd say, Dad, preaching in Stockholm tonight. Dad, I'm in London tonight. Dad, I'm in Seoul, Korea tonight. Dad, I'm in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea tonight. Dad, I'm in Los Angeles tonight, Chicago tonight. And my father's words would always be the same to me. Son, I'm praying for you. Son, when you stand up to preach tonight, I want you to know that I'm on my knees praying for you. Thank God for a father that prayed for me. But there's something in my heart that there's an emptiness, because I can't call him anymore. You know what it's like. A son that died, and the phone call you got at the night that he was in the car wreck. A daughter that died of cancer. A husband who had a heart attack. You long to see them again. And here is the incredible good news. The sleeping saints in their graves cry out to this generation to rise to the challenge, to share God's love, to share God's grace in every generation. To every man, woman, and child on the face of planet Earth, one day. In a land called glory, one day on streets called gold, one day in a place called eternity, you and I will be walking down those heavenly streets. And some man, some boy, some mother, some father, somebody's going to walk up to you and throw their arms around you with tears coming down their face saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for praying for me. I was lost out of Christ. Thank you for giving me a Bible study. Thank you for coming to the hospital to share God's love with me. Some teenager is going to come up to you and say, I was just about ready to give up hope. I was just about ready to leave the church. You invited me to Sabbath dinner, and you stayed with me and hiked with me that afternoon. Some young person, some old person's going to say, I was about ready to give up hope, and you came to the retirement center for me. I dreamed of a land called glory. I dreamed of a land called heaven, where I could embrace my dad again. And I can just imagine that warm embrace. And I can imagine him saying, son, all your life, I was praying for you. And when I close my eyes in death, you're on my mind. He sleeps now. He can't pray for me any longer. But all my life, he was. I long to see him again. Is there a loved one you long to see again? A husband, a wife, a father, mother, a sister, a brother. Do you long for that day when Jesus will come? And we can say, Lord, this is my God. I've waited for him, and he will save me. God has a mission for this church. Will you say tonight, Lord, the most important thing in my life is to be filled with your love, transformed by your grace, moved by your Spirit. I want to put everything else aside. And I want the passion of Christ to fill my heart. I want the grace of Christ to fill my life. I want the priority of Christ to be my priority. I want what's important to Christ to be important to me. I want one day to rejoice around God's throne in the New Jerusalem. And I want to bow on my knees and cry, holy. Because although I want to see my father, I want to see my mother, I want to see Jesus. And I want one thing, for Jesus to embrace me and say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of our Lord. I bowed on my knees and